When Mini first arrived on the scene, it was an ultra-compact, super affordable, everyday runabout. And even though it became a bit of a cult classic, it had to be bailed out by BMW, and that's when things started to change. It immediately became a lot more premium, although it was still relatively compact. On a very quick trip to an incredibly cold UK for the launch of the new model, I would find out that the Countryman has obliterated the idea that the Mini name still has anything to do at all with its size. It is the biggest Mini has ever made, but even without that stat, it's pretty obvious that they've relegated all notions of only producing compact cars to the past. The Countryman has always been the largest of the lot, but to give you an idea of just how big this car is, it's around the same size as an Opel Mokka. So the small city runabout has grown up into almost an SUV. I mean, it's got the space, it's got the size, it'll even have a diesel engine later on in the year, and at some point in the future, an all-wheel drive version. For our countryside test drive, we were given the upper-spec Cooper S Countryman with a 2-litre turbo motor good for 141 kilowatts and 280 newton meters. Those are the kinds of figures that, in the past and in the context of a Mini, would have filled me with a bit of excitement. But with the Countryman standing in front of me, I must say, excitement wasn't what I was feeling. You'll often hear car nerds talking about how a car looks dynamic even when it's standing still. That car just looks busy. It's like the designers decided they had so much space, they decided to chuck every single Mini idea and accent and element into the Countryman's huge body. I'm not saying I don't like it, I'm just saying there's a lot going on here. And all of it, from the raised ride height to the standard roof rails, kind of throws a big heavy blanket over the idea that this still might be a nimble car, with fun as its main theme. Despite that, it's still undoubtedly a Mini. In fact, even with squared-off headlights and its general elephantiasis, it's closer in looks to the rest of the family than the Clubman. A car that's smaller, but looks like it's come from the side of the family that the rest of the family don't talk about. The Countryman is a stocky thing that looks ready to take on the tougher-than-city conditions that its ride height seems to say it can. Which of course it won't, because the only all-wheel drive version we'll get in South Africa is the John Cooper Works. Don't think you'll see too many of those on Safari. So with front-wheel drive only and the ground clearance that it has, it's likely only to take on the odd dirt road, or, as is the case in the UK, a mud track. So it might be the biggest Mini that there is, but this is no SUV, it's just a crossover. And as such, it faces a lot of competition, not least of all from the brand new Audi Q2, against which it squares up in the premium segment. But its fans know that no matter what the other manufacturers might come up with, nothing can quite match this brand for its character. For all its mininess, this car does have some grown-up practicality to it. It's got space for 5, it's got things like hands-free access to the tailgate, and a decent standard spec list. And although the options list doesn't include everything and the kitchen sink, it does include what Mini call a picnic table. Which of course is an absolute gimmick, but this is a brand that's not scared of those. The Countryman interior is pretty much standard Mini fare. The layout and the materials are familiar, but there's been a definite upgrade in tech terms, including a new touchscreen option. Other nice bits fitted to our test car included adaptive cruise control and a head-up display. The question is, though, can it match all that good tech and newfound practicality to its legendary driving fun? The Countryman is a good drive. I mean, the motor delivers decent power, the 8-speed auto box goes about its business really well, and the ride setup is particularly impressive. especially on these challenging and sometimes rather bumpy country roads. But for all it has, it seems to have forgotten about something. It just doesn't feel like a Mini. It deals very well with the tight and twisty layout of these famous British B roads, but it just doesn't deliver that typical involvement for which the company is so well known. There were glimpses of it, but they were buried deep beneath its comfortable everydayness. Even in sport mode and with more than a little bravery, it just didn't feel the same as the rest of the family. The new Mini Countryman is a very nice car. It's got a good drive with impressive handling, it's comfortable, and it has that unique Mini look. But it does seem to be more about user-friendliness than anything else, and it does feel very grown up, which fans of the brand probably won't appreciate. But the way I see it, it is a new model, but it's also a new kind of Mini. The 2-litre turbo delivers decent performance, helped by a very good 8-speed automatic gearbox. The ride setup is particularly impressive, smoothing out challenging roads with relative ease. The Countryman seems to have traded character for sophistication. It's a very nice car to drive, but it feels more like a crossover and less like a Mini.